Hello, everybody, and happy April 2021. And it's time again for another Disneyland Magical Audio Tour update. And I'm here once again with Brian, who is now an official co-host of our Jiminy Crickets podcast. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great, Chris. It's opening day eve. I'm a big baseball fan, but thanks for letting me be a co-host on the show. You and Ruthie are great and welcomed me with open arms, and I'm just glad to be aboard.
Well, we're recording this March 31st, so we don't confuse anybody. April is tomorrow. Because if we were recording this on April, it would be the actual opening day, not opening day eve. So you gave away our secrets, Brian.
Sorry.
It's all right. Speaking of April, this Sunday is a special day, so we'd like to wish everybody a very hoppy Easter.
I just bought 3 bags of robin eggs at the store.
Oh, I do like those. I hate Peeps, though. I don't like any candy that has marshmallow in it. I'm just not a fan.
If you like Peeps, you can't be my friend. That's just the rule.
Okay. The only thing they're good for is microwaving, because it's fun. All right. So, before we get to the new tracks, and there are many, I did a lot more than I thought I would this month, I will go through my shameless plugs. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. First of all, I want to remind everybody about Patreon. There's different tiers and rewards at all the different tiers, and it helps to support the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, as well as all 3 of our podcasts. And the 4 levels are Brave Cricketers, Truthful Cricketers, Unselfish Cricketers, and Official Conscience. And for each level, you get more and more rewards. So consider supporting us, because as little as $1 a month, you get rewards worth well more than $1 a month. So it's mutually beneficial. Right. And to get to our Patreon, go to patreon.com/DisneyChris.
I just wanted to mention that we're just one $5 Patreon member away from Chris hitting his first goal. And I think you were going to watch Coco and do a special podcast review.
We had 3 options, and we were going to let people vote on which movie I was going to watch.
Moana, Big Hero 6, or Coco.
Right.
I think that's what we came up with.
And I still haven't seen any of them. So
so if you're on the fence about being Patreon, now's the time. You'll get a bonus podcast out of it.
So tell everybody about our merchandise, Brian.
Yeah, we have all sorts of great merchandise that you can get in our new online store. And it's probably not new. It's been around for a few months now. But you can get T-shirts.
Maybe a year. About a year.
Yeah, a year.
I'd say.
T-shirts in any color. Lots of colors, not just white. Gray, blue, black, I think. Lots of sizes from small to 4XL, I think, is as high as it goes.
Men's and women's and
men's
children's.
And women's, yeah. Notebooks, stickers, mugs, which are really cool. I have one on my desk I'm looking at right now. And to get to our online store, you're just going to go to jcpodcast.threadless.com, and a portion of your purchase will go directly to benefit the podcast and all of Chris's World Wide Web endeavors.
And look, I updated this graphic, Brian. I have actual pictures that are recent, and I updated the follower number.
Yeah, we've been kind of stuck right around 1,075 followers. So, so we're on Instagram at DisneyChris_JC_podcast, where Chris has kind of handed over the reins to me, and there I'll post, usually every day I'll post a vintage Disneyland picture or an update to the podcast. And it's great. Go on there, follow, comment on the pictures, and share it with your friends. DisneyChris_JC_podcast.
And we're also on Facebook, and on Facebook it's Jiminy Crickets Podcast. Jiminy Crickets is with an exclamation point, and that's our Facebook group. And you can chat with all three of us, including Ruthie, and we give updates to everything going on, plus we just sort of have an ongoing conversation about all things Disney. And we also have an audio podcast, and I actually was working on editing one of those today, and I got a good 2/3 of it completed. So I'm ahead of schedule, and it might come out earlier than I thought. I was thinking I would release it this Monday, the 5th, but I think I might have it done before Easter. So it might even be out as early as tomorrow if I can get it done. So it might be out by tomorrow evening. So, and that's no April Fool's joke. So it's a Winnie the Pooh 55th anniversary, and it's a first of a two-parter. The second half will be released at the end of April, and some of our recent episodes have been a two-parter, which is a tribute to Dean Jones, which was released in January, and then we had a rare one-part episode. Seems nowadays all we've been doing is two-parters. And it was a tribute to the 20th anniversary of Disney's California Adventure. So our audio show is typically sort of a historical look at all things Disney. And to listen to our upcoming and all of our past episodes, we're coming up on episode 137. All of them are available at jcricketspodcast.blogspot.com. We also are doing something really special this year, throughout the year. And we have been releasing special bonus episodes of our podcast that we are calling The Magical Music of Walt Disney. And it's a 5-part series. So far we've released the first 2 episodes, and our next one will be part 3, which we plan to release in early May. And it will include music from the years 1963 to the year 1973. And if you can see the pictures here, you'll get sort of an idea of the music that will be included in our Part 3 episode. Part 1 was released in February, and Part 2 in March. Trying to spread it out throughout the year, so the next one won't be released until early May. We also have 2 other podcasts. One is called Down the Rabbit Hole, which is an exclusive reward for our Patreons at the $5 level or higher, and it is a sort of a casual conversation roundtable between Ruthie, Brian, and I, and sometimes we have guests. And it can be any sort of a Disney topic. Trivia games, just anything fun and off the cuff. And then we have our regular Jiminy Cricket show, which I just explained. Plus we have Dateline Jiminy Crickets, which is a monthly sort of a news program that we broadcast on YouTube. And it's a video show. So be sure to check out all of our different podcasts. We're also hosted on the Roarbots. What's the Roarbots, Brian?
Well, the Roarbots is kind of a specialized site that celebrates all sorts of geek culture kind of things, and we are proud to be the Disney portion of that. You can go on there and learn all about Harry Potter, Star Wars, comic books, Dungeons and Dragons, all kinds of crazy geek culture kind of things. But like I said, we're the Disney part, and so you can go to theroarbots.com and you can listen to all of our podcasts on that channel or that site.
And sometimes we'll release old episodes of sort of a best of type thing, like the best of Carson. So, also on my website, if you're not aware, every day of the year I post a special song for that day called the Disney Song of the Day. And it's also stored on an archive, and you can go back and listen to all the past songs for the past 3 years. And right now, up until Easter, I'm posting all Easter-themed Disney songs. And another thing you might want to check out is the Chapter 24 of my Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, because I have 10 tracks over there that are all themed to Easter. This is my holiday time in Disneyland chapter. And starting with track number 3 through track, I think, 12 is all Easter songs. You're actually listening to one of the songs from this chapter, which is a Springtime in Disneyland medley, which I thought would be fun to use for the background music for this month's episode. So be sure to check that
excellent
out.
Choice.
And this is also now available for mobile devices. My Disneyland Magical Audio Tour is difficult to navigate unless you're using a desktop computer, because it's designed and set up for desktop PCs, and it's been reconfigured and optimized now for mobile device users. It's not an app. You go onto the browser and onto the website and click on a special page that will bring you to the mobile-friendly version, where you'll be able to navigate and find all of the tracks using your mobile device. And to get there, you go to disneychris.com/311. And Brian, we got through all of that in 10 minutes. Can you believe it?
Yeah, we're getting better.
We've done this
Time
enough
to find
times.
out what's new. You got
Right.
a lot of awesome tracks this update, so I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, so I just want to say that we had to split this episode because I actually added 63 tracks in March, and we'd be here for 5 hours if we tried to go through all of them. So we've actually decided to split it up and do another update in less than 2 weeks. We would do it sooner, but because of Easter, we had to sort of push it a little bit further. So we plan to record the second half of this on the 11th of April, which is a week from Sunday. And so it'll be available either that day or by Monday, more than likely the same day, but at the very latest it'll be available on April 12th, which is the following Monday. But today we're going to go through the first 35 of those 62 tracks. So I hope everybody's okay with that. I just wanted to sort of not have this go too long.
I'm okay with it.
All right. I know you are. All right. So let's get started. So let's go to my website. Brian has a list of all the new tracks, so I might be referring to him to help me remember, to jog my memory. So what's the first chapter that I updated, Brian? I think chapter 1, correct?
Yeah, let's start right at the main gate, which is going to be open soon.
Hopefully.
Just about a month away. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed.
If you're lucky enough to get a ticket, which I'm hearing is going to be nearly impossible. They're only going to let like 15% capacity. I think
Plus
they
you have
raised
to be a
it.
California resident too.
Yeah,
so.
that's another obstacle.
Yeah.
So the good news is
track 33.
The good news is that I have completed updating this chapter. I use the terminology completed updating rather than completed, because I might in the future obtain more audio that will go on this chapter. But as of the moment in which I'm speaking right now, this chapter has nothing in the queue and nothing coming soon. Everything that I have planned for this chapter is on the chapter. So, completed updating this chapter. So, the first track is pretty self-explanatory. It is the audio from the 1960 theatrical short based on Disneyland 59 called A Gala Day at Disneyland, which shows the opening of the monorail, the Matterhorn, and the Submarine Voyage. So I may have already had this on the site, but I did some cleanup. I can't even remember. You have to understand, I have more than 2,300 tracks, folks. In fact, I just added my 2350th track today. So you're lucky I can remember anything, let alone 2,350 tracks. So this, I think, was already on the site, but I cleaned up the audio and made improvements. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was on there. I've heard it a few times, but yeah, it sounds a lot better now.
So the next one's track 52, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so what this was, Jack Wagner, the voice of Disneyland, also in charge of all the background music for Disneyland back in the day, he would do special slide presentations where he would record his voice and set it to music and have slides that corresponded with what he was describing. And I think it was used for Disney executives and cast members and the like. And this is a presentation he did back in the early 70s, describing all the landscaping in Disneyland, in each land, including the brand new land coming soon, Bear Country. So it's kind of a fun look back and look at the landscaping of the park. What's the next track, Brian?
Well, if you're lucky enough to be a Disney cast member and go to the Disney tradition, this is gonna.
Oh, I did this.
72.
I was a cast member. Okay, so what
yeah,
this is
you've been through this.
This is a film from the late 60s that was used for incoming Disneyland cast members. And I think it might have been made, I think it's actually from the early 70s, and it was also used for Walt Disney World cast members. But this was just sort of a history background of the Disney organization, and just sort of a way to get people pumped and excited to be working for Disney. And it sort of talked about the history and how special it is to be working for Disney. And it has some audio from that time period. It has a little bit of Happiest Millionaire stuff and fun stuff like that. And then 73, I believe, is next, correct? And
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is the Art of the Disney Theme Show. This is from the early 80s, just before Epcot was completed. Another training film for Disney University attendees. And it talked about Imagineering, and it taught incoming cast members about what went behind the designing of the Disney parks. And then the next track, track 74, is another thing that was used for the Disney University training for incoming cast members. But this was another one of those slideshow presentations. And this was narrated by Jack Wagner and set to music. And it talked about Main Street and the main gate entrance of Disneyland, and sort of described everything in those areas in great detail. And when I say everything, I mean everything. It talks about the popcorn stand, and I mean every little thing, every place, every venue is described. It doesn't leave anything out. So that's a lot of fun. It's sort of a little look at the entrance to the park, Town Square, Main Street, and Central Plaza. Is that the last one for this chapter?
Your last one is track 78.
Oh, here we go. This is actually a VHS, because this was later. This was a much more recent training video now. We've moved to video for new cast members at the Disney University. Another sort of video to get you excited and pumped to work for Disney. And that was sort of what the whole point of the Disney University was. It was mainly just getting you excited to be a cast member, and you really didn't learn any, you didn't get any like real training per se. That came after Disney University, when you were on the actual job site. This was mostly just sort of a propaganda to get you happy and sprinkle you with pixie dust. So what's the next chapter, Brian?
Yeah, boy, I wish I could have gone through some of those. You're all done with chapter 1, so we're going to head on through the main gate and into Town Square.
Okay.
And more cast member orientation. I think you have a few of these in the update today.
Okay, so yeah, I ended up not just posting that track to the Welcome to Disneyland Chapter 1, but I ended up splitting it up and doing just the Main Street part here. Well, no, the Town Square part here, and then I did the Main Street section of it on the Main Street chapter. So this is like a condensed version that just talks about Town Square exclusively, but it's the same audio as that other track. So anything else on this page?
Yeah, that's it. So now you're going to go to chapter 3 and just the Main Street portion of that cast member orientation.
Right,
track
this is the exact same thing, only it's the Main Street section of it. I think it's, yeah, here it is, track 7. The page is still loading. There it goes. So this is the same thing, but it's just the Main Street portions. So this is something I decided to add in. I wasn't going to include it, so this bumped the chapter around and moved all the tracks up one. Everything past track 7 got bumped up one position because I squeezed it in. So the next one I know, because I remember working on it, is Central Plaza.
Yeah, let's hop on the omnibus and head over there. Oh, one of my favorites. Oh boy, a recent addition to Central Plaza, the Fantasy Fair Village. There you go.
This was already on the site, but it was a live recording somebody had made. And the audio was not terrific. It was as good as I could get at the time. So somebody else did another live recording which had much better sound quality. Huge improvement over the other one. So I redid it and added the new version with the much better audio. It's the same thing that was there before with a big improvement in the audio quality. And then I think I just added one more track, which is this. The Royal Theater, Tangled. This took me 3 days, and it would take me like an hour to do 1 minute, and it's 19 minutes long. So this took me like 20 hours of hard work.
Wow,
so,
what happened? Did Rapunzel keep banging you on the head with the frying pan and you just got dazed?
It sounded like it, because this is a recording from the actual live performance of the show. So I had to cut out babies crying, steamboats whistling, birds in the background. I had so much background noise I had to cut out. It was so challenging. I did it, and it sounds pretty good, but the audience was pretty noisy. So I have two others to do, and I'm sort of, having lived through that, I'm sort of like putting it off because they're the exact same thing. That I just have to do it all over again for 2 other shows. But at least one of them is done, and it's been coming soon for like 2 years. So I finally got at least one of them done.
I think you picked the best one first.
Well, I picked it because it's the one I liked the best out of the 3.
Yeah, it's a fun show.
So what's next?
Oh, we're gonna go all the way over to Bear Critter Country and we're gonna spend quite a bit of time here in chapter 10. You did a lot.
Okay, yeah, this is recent. I sort of got everything caught up with what I was doing, and sort of at a point where everything that I had left to do was really tough stuff. So I decided to take a break from it and work on some stuff that was sort of less difficult to edit. So I decided to add a bunch of tracks to this chapter. So all these are fairly recent additions, like over the past week or less. And it was sort of a last-minute decision. I wasn't even going to work on this chapter, but I changed my mind. So what's the first one? I think it's...
Yeah, it's probably, we were working on a lot of Winnie the Pooh stuff, so it was
Yeah,
on your
and that's
mind,
another reason because
we did the podcast. Yeah.
I had a lot of the stuff already sort of set up and ready because of the podcast. So,
The first track is 59, The Great Outdoors.
okay, so this is
Bear
from
Jamboree.
this is a cover version of The Great Outdoors, recorded on an album by a singer named Tammy Tuckey, and the name of the album is You'll Find Me on Main Street, that she recorded in 2018. And it includes cover versions of several songs from the theme parks, and this is one of those cover versions, and I thought it would be fun to include it.
That's from the Vacation Hoedown, right?
Originally, yes, but this is a
boy.
cover version. So
62.
the next one is a tribute to Disney bears. And what this is, because this is sort of a bear-oriented chapter, I decided to do a big mix of songs from various animated Disney things and other things that are related to bears. So I have, it spans from, the first song is A Bear Wants to Say It with a Slap from Bongo from Fun and Fancy Free, 1947. Yeah. And then, it has Winnie the Pooh, The Bear Necessities. It has Sweet Surrender from The Bears and I.
Yes.
By John.
I love that.
By John Denver.
You put that in there?
Yes. And it has a song from Brother Bear and a song from the Country Bear Jamboree. And so it's just a bunch of songs about bears.
That's cool.
And this is the newest track, 63, that I just added this morning. And this is the original motion picture soundtrack to Song of the South. This is all the songs from the movie. It's the 1946 recordings. And they all come... The soundtrack has never been released on any sort of a digital format. The last time it was released was in the 60s, but originally that recording came out in the 50s on a vinyl album of the soundtrack. So this is all the songs taken from that album, but I did a major cleanup, removed all the background noise, any skipping, any crackling, and really did a major cleanup on it. And I sort of combined it all into one sort of mix of the whole album. So this is the full album. Yeah, you don't have to
flip the record over.
This is the full album. Well, and the songs sort of flow into each other.
Yeah.
So this is the full album. I didn't cut anything out. It's the entire album. The next track, which takes up too much space, I need to fix it, because the new there made it so that it takes more than one line. When it's no longer new, it'll fit, but anyway, it's the Mickey Mouse Review from Walt Disney World, and there was actually a animatronic Brer Bear, Brer Rabbit, and Brer Fox in that show who sang. Well, they didn't actually sing it, the chorus did, but they appeared during it, and they sang Zippity Doo Dah. And this is that little piece of audio that played when those audio animatronic characters appeared. So these were actually the first, it was predated Splash Mountain by nearly 20 years. It was the first audio animatronic versions of these characters. Then I included the Old South scene from America Sings, because as you all know, these characters would eventually wind up in Splash Mountain. Then...
Here we go.
This is
what I'm going to listen to after we're done today.
This is a television special from 1989 featuring Jim Varney as his namesake character, Ernest P. Worrell. And they keep calling Ernest P. Worrell in the show for some strange reason. But he is invited to be the very first person to ride Splash Mountain. So this half-hour special was sort of created to emulate a news broadcast, but it was all done it was more of a spoof of a news broadcast. It was like really silly, and
I remember watching that when I was a kid. I think I was around 14 or 15, and we were all excited. We went that year. Yeah.
And then I added the 30-second ad for Splash Mountain, the original 1989 TV spot.
The next one is we're gonna do some Winnie the Pooh stuff, 98.
All right, like the Splash Mountain or Song of the South, this is the entire original soundtrack to the original 1960s Winnie the Pooh shorts. However, unlike the Splash Mountain, these songs were never released on vinyl or digital or in any way other than on the actual film. So these have all been edited from the actual soundtrack of the movie itself. And it just mainly includes the songs, not the background music. So it's all the songs from the first Pooh featurette, the Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, and the second Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. So it's got Up, Down, Touch the Ground, Heffalumps and Woozles, The Wonderful Thing About Tiggers, and all those songs, all extracted from the original soundtrack. The second one here is a Winnie the Pooh segment from a 1983 parade called Fantasy on Parade. And the next song is a medley of songs performed by the Disneyland Band, actually technically the Walt Disney World Band, but they played the same exact orchestrations as the Disneyland Band, but the recording is technically the Walt Disney World Band. And it's 3 songs from Winnie the Pooh. And then the next, actually, I lied. This is the 1965 Fantasy on Parade Christmas Time Parade. So this is the Winnie the Pooh segment from the 65 parade, and this one, 103, is the 1983 Winnie the Pooh segment from that parade.
Hey, Chris, is Fantasy on Parade, was that only at Christmas time?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh TV ad is the 30-second commercial they showed in Western markets for the grand opening of the new attraction. And then the last track is the music from the Winnie the Pooh Honey Pot Spin, which is sort of like the teacups, only it has a Winnie the Pooh theme in Shanghai Disneyland.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm doing a whole section here of Pooh attractions in parks, in other parks around the world.
Yeah. Shanghai is lucky. They have 2 Pooh attractions.
Right. So what's next, Brian?
That's it. That's it for Bear Critter Country. The next is Original Fantasyland, Chapter 11.
And what did I add?
Oh, this is great. The Snow White's Grotto opening ceremony. That's part from the Disneyland 61 TV show, I think.
What number
27.
is that?
Sorry.
Okay, so yes, I just recently edited Disneyland 61, and since I got that done, I already had this done, so I just cut it and put it on this chapter, just the section that I intended to use. But this is the audio from that TV special, which included the opening of the Snow White Grotto. And anything else on this page?
All the way down to 96, and I'm really excited about this next one because it's something from a film that you don't hear sung in the film, but you've got it on your site now. So
okay, this is from the Gala Day at Disneyland special. I edited the audio from that, and this is the song Climb the Mountain from the opening ceremonies of the Matterhorn. And then the next track is the music they created when they showed an actual ride through the Matterhorn. It was used on several different specials, but it was special music that corresponded with the bobsled ride through the Matterhorn. So I have the music by itself without any sound effects. And is that it for this chapter?
I think so. Oh, wait.
Tower of the Four Winds?
Yeah, one more. The Tower of the Four Winds, 108. Yep.
Okay,
there you
so
go. There's Raleigh and Walt.
I worked on the 10th anniversary special audio. So this was, again, already done. So I just went ahead and edited the section that talks about the Tower of the Four Winds. And this is actually a photo, but it was taken at the exact same time that they filmed the footage used in the special. It's the exact same thing as shown in the special. So I think the next is the new Fantasyland, right?
Yep, chapter 12. And we've already talked about this one, but...
No, this is different.
Oh.
This is a different recording. Because
okay, track 112.
Oh. Is it that far down?
Yeah, that's the only one you have on the list here.
Oh, I
the
thought
Royal
I added...
Theater, Tangled.
I thought I added one other one, but maybe I added it further back, so I talked about it in the last video.
You can scroll through. We're on a pretty good clip here.
So the next one is the same exact track that is on Chapter 4, Central Plaza, the Royal Theater, Tangled. It's also on this page. So what's the next chapter?
Chapter 14, Disneyland Showtime, and we're going to look at track 41.
Okay. Where the heck is
Disney on Parade.
Okay. So I did a lot of stuff for the Disneyland and TV Land chapter, which we're going to talk about in the next video. But one of those tracks appears on this chapter as well, because it was a TV special. And
41.
It was okay, so this might be where your confusion lies, Brian. There's Fantasy on Parade and there's Disney on Parade, and
that's right.
They're two totally different things. Fantasy on Parade was literally a parade, and Disney on Parade was a show. That was sort of the precursor to Disney on Ice. It was shown in stadiums and arenas around the country. It was a traveling show, but the difference is it was not ice skating. It was just the characters on regular shoes and sets and songs, and it was just a show. And it was for 5 years, and it started in 1969. And in the early 70s, there was an episode of The Wonderful World of Disney that showed a good portion of this show on TV. So that's why it's on the TV chapter, but also why it's on the Showtime chapter, because it sort of encompasses both themes. However, the reason I'm including it at all, because it wasn't a Disneyland thing, is because it was inspired by Fantasy on Parade. Fantasy on Parade led to Disney on Parade, because the character designs and the concepts all sort of carried over to Disney on Parade. And then Disney on Parade, in turn, brought stuff back to Disneyland that inspired things in the park. So I think there's only... Is there anything else on this chapter?
Yeah, there's only one other track, but it's that Tangled show. You put it in here, too.
Yeah, because it's a show. I also included it on this chapter. Fantasy Fair Theater, Tangled. And so the next chapter's 15, which is the original Tomorrowland of the 1950s. And what's the first track?
The first track is 10, A Gala Day at Disneyland.
Right.
which
We
is
already
from
talked.
chapter 1.
We already talked about that. I also decided to include that here. And anything else?
Yeah, there you go. Number 16.
Okay, so I had worked on all these others in February, but I didn't quite make it to all of them by the end of February. So I also completed this section by finishing Our Friend the Atom, which is the final episode of the Tomorrowland series of episodes from the Disneyland TV series. And this is the audio from that. This one took forever to edit, too. Is that it?
Yeah, The House of the Future, track 48.
Oh, this was sort of a last-minute decision to include this. This is the audio from the new Mickey Mouse shorts. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So they did a House of the Future short.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I like it.
And this is the audio, the music by itself, isolated from that short. And I thought it'd be fun to include it. It was a last-minute decision to add it. I wasn't originally going to have it. So what's next?
The Submarine Voyage dedication ceremony, track 85.
Okay, this was from the Disneyland 59. And as you'll find out, on the episode we're going to record on the 11th, I finished editing and recording Disneyland 59, so I also had this edited, so I decided to include it here. But it's the dedication ceremony from Disneyland 59. And is that it?
That's it. We're going to head over to Disneyland After Dark,
so this
21.
This is the last track we're going to talk about for today.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about
the infamous
rest.
Parade here.
So I had this on the site already, but somebody sent me a file just out of the blue. They had a longer version of it. What track number is it?
77.
So this is Light Magic. So it was on the site before, but I think it was 19 minutes. This one's about 3 or 4 minutes longer. And I just updated it because it was a longer and uncut version. This is the full uncut version of the parade. And I don't know if you'll find it anywhere else because this person just sent it to me. I don't know where they got it from, but so this is an update to an existing track. So that's everything, Brian. And
yeah,
we kept it short. We kept it under an hour, which is good. So, before we go, as always, we want to thank everybody for your continued support of Disney Chris and Dateline Jiminy Crickets and the Jiminy Crickets podcast. Yes, I can read. And and we will be back in less than 2 weeks, in about 11 days, or 12 days, to bring you the conclusion of the March updates to the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, which mainly will include Chapter 19, which is the Star Wars chapter, and Chapter 27, which is the Disneyland and TV Land chapter. I added a bunch of stuff to both of those chapters. Plus, anything I add to the site between now and when we record on the 11th, I will also include. Because that way it'll keep the April episode shorter, too. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So, thank
so
you
you're
again,
only going to add
Brian.
about 100 more tracks between now and the 11th, huh?
Well, I have some podcast editing to do and stuff, so hopefully... Well, I have other things to get done, and also, like I said, I'm sort of at a point now where the tracks are getting harder and take longer to edit. I know I said that the last time, and it didn't turn out to be the case, but it really is now, because, like, the last one I did took me 3 days before I jumped and decided to do the Critter Country thing. So, if I go back and start working on those, there's 25 of those left. and they're on chapters 4, 19, and 27. So they're TV episodes, they're albums from Star Wars, like vintage albums, and those take forever because of their albums, and those always take a long time. And then I also have those other Fantasy Fair shows to do. So that's basically what I have left to edit for the original list that I was working off of before I can sort of go and move on to something different. But anyway, thank you again to everybody. Thank you, Brian. And look for our new Winnie the Pooh episode coming very soon.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
I'm excited about that one. Even you were gushing about it. You said it may be one of our best shows ever.
I was really happy with how it came out, so I can't wait to release it. So we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.